Okay, if you're like me or any travel addicted person or any person that like remotely wants to travel but doesn't know how, sometimes it can be a bit intimidating. So today I'm going to show you, I guess, my part one, or like travel hacks on how to use Skyscanner to get your cheapest flight possible. So I usually work in just trying to do things for as cheap as possible, but sometimes it results in the best option, because a lot of the cheaper flights end up being green flights, and some of them actually end up being direct flights, and you can get them super cheap. So yeah, okay, without further ado, let's go ahead and get to Skyscanner. So to begin, I'm going to show you basically how a domestic flight works. So let's start with Orlando, Florida to New York, and then we're going to do a one-way ticket in April of 2021, just to give an example. And then you have all of your options over here. You can use those. Those definitely help with price as well. So we're going to go ahead and click add nearby airports, just so you have some more options for your flights. Then if you look down, you have 79, you have 60, you have 60, 79, 60. So like a one-way ticket from Orlando to New York, halfway across the US, is literally $60. So next we're gonna do New York to London. And so this is also another cheap way to get international. You can go Orlando, New York, London. So if we do that in April, it's $60 to New York, and then from New York to London, it is $169, $180, $130, $177. So for a one-way ticket to London, you're looking at about $200, $220. And on average, the average American makes around $100 a day, more even. And so 2 days could buy you a ticket to London. So now we can show that even going across the US, so any big airport, LA to London, if we look at that, it is only $224. It's around the same price. So $209, $245, $200, $221 for a one-way ticket from California to London, which is pretty much one of the furthest distances you can go. There's even a ticket for $160. So now let's go Atlanta to London. Atlanta is another big airport, but it's a random one. So this is like an obscure one. You still have tickets for $310 to London, and it works both ways, going there and coming back. So another obscure airport, but a big one, Denver, $221, $213, super cheap. Okay, so we're gonna change again. Let's see. Let's do Washington, D.C. $182, $207. This is also in peak season. So a lot of people go to London in this spring and summer. And so this is peak season for when people go. Seattle, another obscure airport, $348. This is just showing you that you can do it from any major airport in the US. Like, you can't do it from like little small town airports, but if you can get yourself to a big airport, then it's not that far. Okay. Okay, so now going from Orlando to London, I'm going to show you another feature. So you can do the whole month, or the cheapest month. So that just kind of shows you what the best time of year to go for tickets is. So if you look here, and so obviously you can tell by the color coding, green is the cheapest, yellow is mid, and red is the most expensive. And so you can get a one-way ticket to London for $148 in May of 2021. If you go into January and February, the prices are a bit more expensive. It is the holiday season, so they do charge a bit more. I think it's kind of like a pyramid around that time. And then February is quite expensive. Then if you go to December, you get a few cheaper prices, because I think if you book, like, they're trying to fill seats like closer to the time of the booking, so you can get a lot of really good deals closer to the time of booking. So then you click on one and you go down, and this is how it shows you. You can pick by best, cheapest, or fastest. So this video is about getting cheapest. So we'll go to the cheapest in December. So this goes from MCO to London Heathrow. And as I said, this video is not about being the most comfortable, it's about being the cheapest. So you have 2 layovers, one in New Jersey, and then, okay. So then let's go to the March and show you the March ones. 363, here's a 206 flight. So we take that one, ideally. Let's go down. Okay, so here's the cheapest. It's showing you is 215. Usually the cheapest is also a green choice. It's like an eco flight, which is very nice. Okay, so now we're going to try and here's all your dates. You can choose whichever one. So let's go and choose November of 2021. And you see how like quite far out they're quite expensive. I think it's either to book really close in advance or really far, but not really far. Okay, so here's a return ticket for April of 2021. So then it shows you can pick your outgoing flight. So outgoing, let's do a 2. Okay, so now let's do Orlando to London, arrive March, April 26th, come back Monday, May 3rd. So that ticket is $470. They checked the providers. Now it's $467. You can see as they check providers, some cheaper tickets pop up. So this is actually a direct flight from MCO to London and London back to Orlando for $467. Direct flight, no layovers, nothing. So sometimes even these like super cheap flights end up being the best flights. So yeah, I think that's all I have for you now. There's definitely more I can do on Skyscanner, so let me know if you want a part 2. But yeah, okay. Okay, so now let's do it in reverse. We're gonna go from London to Orlando and London to other places in the States to show that you can get a similar price. Okay, so London, Orlando. Always click your add near airports. All right, we're gonna do May of 2021, one way. Okay, so this is basically the opposite of the first video, the one way, but from Europe to the States. So then your tickets are $256, which is about the same cost. April, $256, it's pretty stable. If you go into March, you find it a little more expensive, but that's the same way it was when you were going the other way. So then we go down to June, still $256. So let's try London to another major airport. We'll do New York because it's one of the biggest in the world. And we'll see. It is about the same cost point at $209, so literally almost the same. So cheap flights for everybody. April, $209 as well. Okay, and then we go, let's show you another option. So this is basically your everywhere option. This is a preview. I'll show you way more about it next week or whenever I do a part 2. So this is your everywhere. So this was Orlando to everywhere one way. So you can go Puerto Rico 39, Guatemala 48, El Salvador 72, Mexico 81, Colombia 82. It's insane. Then if you go and you do London, once you get to London, so you have that 200 ticket to London, you can pretty much, the world opens up to you. So you're about to see in 3, 2, Italy 13, Germany 15, Austria, Hungary, Ireland, Luxembourg, Gibraltar, Ukraine, Russia, Malta, all under $20 flights. Europe is the easiest place to get around by plane. So I hope you guys enjoyed this and it helped you out a little bit. There is definitely more I can do on Skyscanner and other like Google Flights and other flight hacks and tips to help you get like the cheapest flight possible. Yeah, thank you for watching, and I hope with your encouragement I can keep making these videos. All right, have a good week.